Hey, YouTubers! Welcome back to Galactic Gaming. This is Hatfield15 reporting for duty, and today I'm making a bit of a different video than I normally do. Now, if you guys are a fan of the SCP Foundation like I am, then you guys would probably be excited for the live-action film 096 that's going to be released later this month by Mr. Clay. If you guys are not familiar with the SCP Foundation, in which SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect, is a fictional organization documented by the web-based collaborative fiction project of the same name. Within the website's fictional setting, the SCP Foundation is responsible for locating and containing individuals, entities, locations, and objects that violate natural law, referred to as SCPs, and it's based off of things such as horror, science fiction, and urban fantasy. Now, if you guys are familiar with the SCP Foundation and how it works, you guys would know that in each SCP document, there is often a lot of data redacted or just all out expunged. But yeah, if you guys hear a censor beep quite often, that's because I've come across something that is redacted, expunged, or in other terms, unintelligible. But yeah, that'll just explain that. So, for my one and possibly only SCP reading, I will be doing a reading of SCP-096, also known as the Shy Guy. Now, I will give you guys a quick content warning ahead. There's going to be a lot of blood, violence, gore, and strong language as I'm reading these documents. So, first I'm going to be going over the actual document of SCP-096, then I'll be going over Incident 096-1-A, which is what the upcoming live-action film will be based off of. Now, I've been in contact with SCP Illustrated, one of my favorite SCP channels out there, and towards the end of this video, there will be an instance where there is some data redacted, but SCP Illustrated, in his reading of SCP-096, has made up some content that is not found on the official page, but he just made up so I would look and sound good. So I've been in contact with him, and he has given me permission to use his content in my reading of SCP-096. I have modified his content very slightly, and I am by no means intending to steal it for myself. I'm just giving full credit to SCP Illustrated. I'll let you guys know when this is coming about, so if you guys want to follow along, there will be a link in the description below for you guys to follow along the reading of it. First we'll be going over the documents, so I'll be the first link from the top, and then Incident 096-1-A will be the second link from the top. If you guys want to check out the trailer for 096 by Mr. Clay, there will be the third link in the description below will take you to the trailer of that. And then if you guys want to go check out SCP Illustrated, there will be another link in the description below. Now, yeah, if you guys hear me screwing up a little bit, just know this is my first time doing an SCP reading, and I'm very rudimentary in it, but hope you guys like it regardless. Anyways, just before we begin, you guys, could this video please hit 15 likes, and if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please be sure to smash the subscribe button if you want a shout out. Be sure to show your subscription to be publicly if you make sure you get a shout out. Also, make sure you ring and ding that notification bell so you never miss out on any videos. So anyways, let's begin. Item number, SCP-096. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-096 is to be contained within its cell, a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter airtight steel cube at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes aren't mandatory. There are to be absolutely no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside SCP-096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure SCP-096's presence inside the cell. Any and all photos, video, or recording of SCP-096's likeness are strictly forbidden without approval from Dr. and 05. Description: SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. The subject shows very little muscle mass, with preliminary analysis of body mass suggesting mild malnutrition. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation, with no sign of any body hair. SCP-096's jaw can open to 4 times the norm of an average human. Other facial features remain similar to an average human, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It is not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no signs of any higher brain functions and is not considered to be sapient. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors inside its cell indicating it spends most of the day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly, via video recording, or even a photograph, it will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running towards a person who viewed its face, who will from this point on be referred to as SCP-096-1. Documented running speeds have varied from 35 km an hour to km an hour, and seems to depend on distance from SCP-096-1. At this point, no known material or method can impede SCP-096's progress. The actual location of SCP-096-1 does not seem to affect SCP-096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of SCP-096-1's location. Note, this reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. See Document 096-1. Upon arriving at SCP-096-1's location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill and SCP-096-1. 100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat. Due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including breach of Foundation secrecy and large civilian loss of life, retrieval of the subject should be considered alpha priority. Dr. has also petitioned for immediate termination of SCP-096. See Interview 096-1. Termination order has been approved and is to be carried out by Dr. on See Incident 096-1-A. Audio log from Interview 096-1. Interviewer, Dr. Interviewed, Captain, Forward Commander of Retrieval Team Zulu 9 Alpha. Retrieval Incident 096-1-A. Begin log. It always sucks ass to get initial retrieval duty. You have no idea what the damn thing is capable of besides what jacked up information the field techies can scrape up, and you're lucky if they even tell you the whole story. They told us to bag and tag. Didn't tell us jack shit about not looking at the damn thing. Could you describe the mission, please? Yeah, sorry. We had 2 choppers, one with my team and one on backup with Zulu 9 Bravo and Dr. We spotted the target about 2 clicks north of our patrol path. I'm guessing he wasn't facing our direction, else he would have taken us out there and then. Your report says that SCP-096 didn't react to the cold. It was minus degrees Celsius. Actually, it was minus, and yes, it was butt naked and it didn't so much as shiver. Anyway, we landed, approached the target, and Corporal got ready to bag it. That's when Dr. called. I turned to answer it, and that's what saved me. The target must have turned, and my whole squad saw it. That's when SCP-096 entered an agitated emotional state. Yep. Interviewed now pauses for a second before continuing. Sorry. Got the willies for a second. That's alright. Yeah, well, I never saw its face. My squad did, and they paid for it up the ass. Could you describe it a little more, please? Yeah. It started screaming at us and crying. Not animal roaring, though. Sounded exactly like a person. Really fucking creepy. We started firing when it picked up Corporal and ripped off his leg. God, he was screaming for help. Fucking... Anyway, we were blowing chunks out of the target, round after round. It didn't do jack shit. I almost lost it when it started him. That's when you ordered the use of an AT-4 HEDT launcher, an anti-tank gun. Started carrying it ever since SCP got loose. I've seen those tear through tanks like tissue paper. Did the same thing to the target. There was significant damage to SCP-096. It didn't even fucking flinch. It kept tearing my squad apart, but with half of its torso gone, he draws a large half circle across his torso. But it was taking damage? If it wasn't showing it. It must have lost all of its organs and all of its blood, but it didn't acknowledge any of it. Its bone structure wasn't hurt at all, though. It kept tearing my squad apart. So no actual structural damage. How many rounds would you say were fired at SCP-096? At the least? 1,000. Our door gunner kept his GAU-19 on it for at least 20 seconds. 20 fucking seconds. That's 650 caliber rounds pumped into the thing. Might as well have been spitting at it. This is when Zulu 9B arrived. Yeah, and my squad was gone. Zulu 9 Bravo managed to get the bag over its head, and it just sat down. We got into the chopper and got it here. I don't know how I never saw its face. Maybe God or Buddha, wherever thought I should live. The jackass. We have obtained an artist's depiction of SCP-096's face. Would you like to view it? You know, after hearing that thing's screams and the screams of my men, I don't think I want to put a face to what I heard. No. Just... no. Alright, I believe we are done here. Thank you, Captain. Chairs are heard moving and footsteps leave the room. Captain is confirmed to have left interview room 22. Let this be on record that I am formally requesting SCP-096 be terminated as soon as possible. End log. Okay, now that's the end of the official document of SCP-096, and now we'll be moving on to Incident 096-1-A. Reminder to all of you that the link to this script will be the second link from the top of the description if you want to follow along. And this is what the live-action film coming out later this month will be based off of. Anyways, let's begin. So containment has been attained? Yes, Doctor. Let me see the security footage. Begin log. A large steel cube is shown in the middle of a research lab, which is teeming with a dozen or so researchers. In view of the camera is a control booth, displaying readings from the various sensors inside the cube. Fast forward 1 minute and 32 seconds. The control booth operator leans forward, alerted to the various readings on the sensors. Approximately 5 minutes later, a steel wall on the containment cube receives a sizable dent bending outward. The dent becomes larger before breaking. SCP-096 is seen bending the steel away, frantically trying to escape. Emergency plates drop on the cube as a containment breach is sounded. The security tape has SCP-096's face blurred out as per containment protocol. 2 security teams enter the room as SCP-096 breaks out of containment. Live rounds and tranquilizer darts are fired to no visible effect. Approximately 90% of researchers and security personnel have directly viewed SCP-096's face, and a code Lima is declared. The room and surrounding areas are sealed and flushed with class nerve agent. Approximately 2 minutes later, SCP-096 breaches research site and travels kilometers an hour through the outside desert, traveling. End log. Echo Romeo was assigned to immediate containment breach. When we realized just how big a breach we were dealing with, we were completely overwhelmed. Funny how even the best and brightest minds in the world can be so unprepared. So you're saying it's your own fault? Absolutely not. This was a new discovery in SCP-096's behavior. We had no way to know, and we are lucky it didn't turn into an XK. Begin log. Helm cam footage from ER-1. Footage from inside a UH-60 shows SCP-096 on the desert floor, moving at considerable speeds. This is Echo Romeo Actual. We have visual of the target at knots and increasing. ERA listens to the radio as orders, identified as coming from Dr. Dan, are relayed. SCP-096 can be seen slowly gaining speed. ERA motions off camera. ER-3 appears, holding a modified XM500 anti-material rifle. 2 shots are fired. The first misses and the second hits SCP-096 in the lower leg. SCP-096 stumbles but recovers. Speed change is insignificant. Pete. No effect on target. ERA motions to ER-3 again. ER-3 fires 3 more shots. The first 2 miss, and the third hits SCP-096 in the head. SCP-096 falls, skids, and rolls several times, reducing its speed minimally. SCP-096 rolls to its feet and continues unabated. Camera pans up to see 8 V-22 Ospreys belonging to MTF-TAU-1 flying overhead and past the helicopters on the same outbound vector as SCP-096. Camera cuts out. End log. Video interview log 096-1-A. Interviewed. Dr. Alexei. Begin log. Dr. Alexei appears very calm, determined, and answers all questions slowly and deliberately. Where are you exactly at the time of breach? On break, getting a cup of coffee. It was pure luck I wasn't caught in the containment area. Describe your actions directly after the containment breach. I sent Echo Romeo after SCP-096 and alerted Dr. Dan to the situation. We then set upon the task of locating SCP-096-1. Once the general direction of SCP-096 was determined, I sent Mobile Task Force TAU-1 ahead to evacuate civilian population centers in SCP-096's path, all according to containment protocol. End log. Video interview 096-1-B. Interviewed Dr. Daniel Dan. Begin log. Dr. Dan sits patiently. On the table in front of him is what looks to be a set of modified night vision goggles. For the record, where are you exactly at the time of where were you exactly during SCP-096's containment breach? In the mountain range, trying to find more information on SCP-096's origins. It was a great research expedition, so I left Dr. Alexei in charge of the containment. He is competent enough, if a bit eager, and has proved himself in the past. This is all confirmed by the various related paperwork, so don't go thinking that was just for record, Doctor. Now, knowing that SCP-096 is immune to all known forms of damage while in an enraged state, why would you order the sniper attacks on the emergency response team? Why not? If there was a chance to slow down SCP-096 and give MTF-TAU-1 more time, then we had to try it. It put ER in no danger, and the choppers were in danger of being outrun anyway. Honestly, ER could do little else to help or harm the situation. I see. Now could you explain this? Interviewer motions to the goggles lying on the table. Yes, this is Project Scramble, an IP is to be assigned to ER and MTF-TAU-1, designed by Dr. Alexei and myself specifically for SCP-096. It carries a small microprocessor which constantly analyzes the viewing field for the facial features of SCP-096. Facial recognition software inside instantly identifies them, scrambling the image into an unrecognizable mess before the light reaches the human eye. It's quite ingenious, really. And expensive. Very. Which is why it's a shame it didn't work. End log. Begin log. Audio transcript between MTF-TAU-1 and modified EG-3 Sentry AWACS. Call sign, Big Brother. Begin log. Ospreys in the air, moving at awaiting vector. Electronics online. Cruising altitude reached. Uploading program Scramble to all camera systems. Cameras online. Big Brother's now watching. What outbound vector is the target currently heading? Target is currently westbound, traveling on... Shit. Yeah, he's on the I-40. I think he just flipped a semi. Outbound vector is... degrees by... Next town on this vector is... I'd say a couple hundred kilometers. Shit. MTF, we're suggesting Echo Romeo begin evacuating the I-40. I don't know how many cars the target has wrecked. Hold one. That's a negative, Big Brother. ER is reporting that the target is outrunning her choppers. They can't get ahead of them. Then get them to stop motors on the other lane. I don't know how many people have seen this thing's face. End log. The first three elements of MTF-TAU-1 succeeded in gathering the townsfolk in the first three towns without incident. SCP-096-1 was confirmed to not be in any of these when SCP-096 ran through each in turn without stopping. However, a video log in MTF-TAU-1 shows SCP-096-1 being identified in the town of... and the ensuing incident. Show it. Helm cam footage from Element 4 of MTF-TAU-1 in the town of... Begin log. Most of the townspeople are gathered in a square, all blindfolded. Helicopters sweep the town. Indistinct orders are heard over loudspeakers from both the helicopters and ground personnel. The target is entering proximity zone. All units activate scramble gear and begin crowd control procedures. All civilians are not to move from their spot or remove their blindfolds. If you move or touch your blindfold, you will be shot. I repeat, all civilians orders are drowned out by a large shriek coming from outside the camera's view. Approximately 2 kilometers away, SCP-096 is seen to be coming over the crest of the hill. It tries to slow down on the descent, but trips and tumbles down at high speed, crashing through several houses before regaining its footing, almost without delay. Civilians are not to move. You will be shot. I repeat. Several shots are heard, none of which are directed at SCP-096. SCP-096 stops for 1 second before running into the crowd of townsfolk, throwing many aside and trampling more. More shots are heard as the crowd begins dispersing, the loudspeakers unintelligible over the vocalizations of SCP-096. SCP-096 locates SCP-096-1, a middle-aged man, and the camera views SCP-096 grabbing him before it is hit by a fleeing townsperson and is dislocated from the helmet. End log. Video interview 096-1-C. Interviewed, Major Jack Wilford. current commander of Mobile Task Force TAU-1. Begin log. I was looking through SCP-096-1's house with my squad. Poor bastard was a semi-pro mountaineer. Took a trip to the... Apparently, he took a snapshot of the landscape and just happened to catch SCP-096 in the background. Wilford holds up 4 fingers for emphasis. 4 pixels. 4 fucking pixels. I doubt the guy even knew what he saw. He was probably just looking at the picture one day, noticed enough colors back to snow, and went on with his day. How did you find it? Our scramble gear picked it up right away. The lieutenant got the picture and took it down to the chopper before I ever got to see it. By then the damn monster had taken down Big Brother and peeled open the Major Striker. All hell was breaking loose. So the scramble gear was ineffective. Ineffective? The goddamn scrambles were pieces of shit that killed the whole damn task force. You know only 3 people are alive besides me, all because some retard egghead thought of a state-of-the-art countermeasure to SCP-096's hostile reaction. Those bloody idiots could have just put a bag over the target's head and be done with it. But no, we had to use state-of-the-fucking-art scramble. End log. Begin log. What that fucker call me? Dr. Dan pushes back from the table and begins standing up. I'll show that goddamn son of a bitch what an egg it is after I bash open his interview. He begins shouting and cursing. 2 guards enter the room and push Dr. Dan back into his seat. Do we need to administer a sedative, Doctor? Dr. Dan takes a breath and smooths his coat. No, I apologize. Scramble was really an ingenious idea. However, it was a failure because we did not fully understand how SCP-096 worked. You see, as the chip inside Scramble picked up SCP-096's facial features and began scrambling them, there was a split second of uninterrupted light flow to the retina. Computers are fast, but not as fast as light. So there was a split-second image of SCP-096's direct face sent to the brain. Wasn't even consciously received, but apparently enough to trigger the reaction in SCP-096. So, with this report of the photograph, that's the most disturbing part of this whole incident. You know when the former SCP-096-1 went on his mountain trip? 1990... That's years of that photograph hanging there before he saw SCP-096. Since the brain doesn't need to be aware that it is viewing SCP-096's face to trigger a reaction, there could be ticking time bombs hidden literally anywhere in the world. How many photographs are out there containing SCP-096, just going unnoticed, waiting for a careful eye? As I said before, I want this thing terminated. Now. End log. Just a quick question, Doctor. What exactly were you planning on doing there? Major Jack Wilford was top-notch SBS when we recruited him. I was also a recon corpsman, sir, and was deployed in the Caucasus. Marines beat SBS. No, they don't. Enough, both of you. Moving on. Video interview log 096-1-D. Interviewed Chief Master Sergeant Door Gunner under Echo Romeo. Begin log. I got the bag over its head. Yes, you've told me that. Could you tell me exactly what transpired? It was done with all of its... It was sitting there in the highway. Just got done ripping over in a minivan. Interviewee is silent. And I'm... Wes landed the chopper. I got out and bagged it. I put the bag over its head, it got calm, and they took it. So, the victims in the minivan were the last to have viewed SCP-096's face. Interviewee is silent. Interviewee remained silent for the remainder of the interview and was released. He was later found in his bunk room having committed suicide via hanging with a makeshift rope. A half-crushed pacifier was found in his fist. End log. Video of log 096-1-D. Confiscated tape from news broadcast CNN. Begin log. The image shows first responders surrounding the remains of a crashed plane over the shoulder of a field reporter. The plane, which seems to be military in origin, has no outward markings designating it as part of the U.S. military. While first responders look for a black box recording, it is thought by police that the plane crashed due to a massive cabin breach in both the cockpit and fuselage. The reporter motions to a large hole in the side of the plane, which several fighters are climbing inside. Paramedics have only found 3 bodies, which is odd for a plane apparently requiring a crew of around 20 men. Police have suggested the reporter is cut off as 3 super stallions are shown hovering overhead, 2 of which land and begin offloading troops belonging to MTF Epsilon. Shut off the camera! Shut off the motherfucking end log! So, are we finished here? One last question, Doctor. Or statement, as it seems. We find it interesting that there was no break room at site. Or coffee. Interviewee is silent. we think it would be best if you started talking. Remainder of video interview log 096-1-A redacted. Okay, sorry about that little lapse in flipping between the things now, but as I said, this is the following information you're about to see is not in the official document, but keep those scripts handy because there's one more section after the remainder of interview log 096-1-A. Like I said, I've gotten full permission to use SCP Illustrated's iteration of this document in my video, and even though I've tweaked it slightly, like I said before, I am not by any means attempting to steal it for myself. So, the fourth link down from the description will be the link to SCP Illustrated's channel. He's a really cool guy, so check him out. Administrator clearance accepted. Accessing files by SCP Illustrated. Video interview 096-1-A continued. Loading transcript. Begin log. I'm waiting, Doctor. I was not in the break room. Yes, we know that. Where were you? Interviewee remains silent. Very well. Interviewer closes his folder and gets up from the chair. Good day, Doctor. Interviewer leaves. 4 minutes later, door opens and 05-1 enters the room accompanied by a pair of armed guards who stand by the doorway. Dr. Alexei stands. Sit. Dr. Alexei resumes his seat and 05-1 sits down. You know very well who I am, and I think you can gather from just that alone how serious this is. Where were you, Doctor? Interviewee remains silent. Dr. Alexei, may I remind you that it is in your very best interest that you start talking right now. I am not exaggerating when I say that your life could very well depend on what you say or don't say next. Do you understand? Dr. Alexei fidgets in his chair and sighs before finally talking. Very well. Myself and Dr. Dan have long known the dangers that SCP-096 presents to the world. He made several attempts to make you and the other O5s believe that it has to be terminated ASAP. You want to know what he heard back? Nothing. No termination order, not even a damn suggestion that at least be a discussion of the matter. So he devised a scenario that would finally make you and the Council believe that SCP-096 has to die. We knew from the get-go it would have to be something big, however, in order for you to take notice. But it was all for the greater good. It has to die. Simple as that. Keep going. You know that photograph that was found in SCP-096-1's house and... The truth is, it wasn't that many years old at all. SCP-096 was transported to the mountain range by a pair of agents. Dr. Dan had contacted and later met up with an old friend of his who just happened to be exploring the area at the time and was going to use the civilian as part of the experiment without the civilian knowing. Dr. Dan and the friend climbed the mountain, later meeting up with myself and a D-class we brought along with us to take the photo. For the sake of keeping this a secret, the D-class went under the name of Martin. The same friend who caused SCP-096 to enter an enraged state? Yes, sir. Continue. Keeping it simple, SCP-096 was being held very far back in the background while Martin took the photograph. Dr. Dan and the friend then went along their way, and once they were a good enough distance away, I instructed Martin to take a look at a very specific point in the photograph, which he did. The agent subsequently informed me that SCP-096 had entered an enraged state. I didn't see it, but the screams and sounds were enough to indeed confirm the experiment was a success. Afterwards, the agents bagged SCP-096 and transported it and the rest of us all back to site. I later met up with Dr. Dan. Okay, let's skip forward to the containment breach, please, and return to the initial question. Where the hell were you? I will not ask again, Doctor. I had just left site when it broke out. Dr. Dan, on the other hand, had met up with the same friend from the experiment at their residence inn, and had on view the points of the photograph which caused SCP-096 to enter a rage state and break containment. Just prior to this, he had contacted me via text message to inform me that the breach was about to commence. Upon receiving the message, I immediately left SCP-096's containment area, knowing full well that the place would be flooded with nerve gas the second it broke out of containment. I informed Dr. Dan that SCP-096 had broken out of containment and was on its way to SCP-096-1, at which point he left a friend's residence. He then proceeded to coordinate with most of MTF-TAU-1 from his cell phone via his car. Look, I know this looks bad on all accounts, but this had to be 05-1 who holds up his right hand and raises his index finger to silence Dr. Alexei. So, what I can gather from all this is that you and Dan caused this breach, resulting in the subsequent deaths of over 300 civilian and staff members, all because you wanted to prove a point. Is that what you're telling me? I suppose yes. What the hell do you mean, you suppose yes? It wasn't meant to go that way, was it? We thought the scramble gear, that piece of shit fucked over the entire task force. 96% of the damn task force killed because of Scramble. So you're telling me you were pulling all the strings from the beginning? The staged photograph, the containment breach, the use of a civilian in an unauthorized experiment. All of it? Yes, sir. Do you have any idea what you could have done? You could have caused a fucking XK class scenario with a single news camera, or even a damn cell phone had caught its face and gone public. We couldn't know, you didn't know shit, and yet you still instigated the deaths of hundreds of personnel and civilians. People you worked with, people you trusted for your safety, and dare I say some you may have even called friends once when they were alive. Did you happen to hear the Master Sergeant's testimony? I'll have you know the reason that poor man hung himself was because he witnessed that fucking creature ripping an 8-month-old child to shreds. Think about that. Were children just collateral damage in this plan of yours, you sick fuck? Were they? Dr. Alexei slams his fist on the table. We had to show you, goddammit! You didn't listen to us before! That thing has to die! You and Dan are evil. You two represent everything that the Foundation cannot be. We secure the anomalies, we contain them, and we protect humanity so they don't have to suffer from them. We don't release them onto the world for our own selfish motives. I stand by my actions. This was twisted, and evil, and cunning. You do not have leave to authorize your own experiments that put innocent civilian lives at risk. Well, finally, you and the other O5s can now see why the fuck it has to die. There is a brief moment of silence between Dr. Alexei and O5-1. I hear no remorse in your voice, Doctor. So what do you intend to do now that you know the truth? Oh, I'll tell you what I intend to do now. Dr. Alexei, I hereby find you guilty of treachery to the Foundation, the intentional release of a Euclid-class SCP resulting in mass loss of life, the intentional release of sensitive information also resulting in mass loss of life, the inclusion of civilian in an unauthorized experiment also leading to loss of life including the civilian, and severe gross negligence of your duties and responsibilities. You are hereby sentenced to execution. What? From this moment forward, you are now under arrest. You shall be incarcerated until the earliest possible time your execution can be scheduled for. Do you understand? No! This is the right thing to do! You can't do this to me! Also, as a result of your actions, your work contract and insurance plans have been revoked, including any and all compensation your family will receive in the event of your passing. Your family will be told that you died with honor in the execution of your duties, when in reality, you were executed as nothing more than an honorless traitor to the people you are bound to protect, which, might I add, is the entire human race. You've betrayed humanity, Doctor. You deserve nothing more than death. Fuck you! In a rage, Dr. Alexei jumps from his chair and moves to attack O5-1. The two guards immediately open fire on Dr. Alexei, resulting in his termination. Are you okay, sir? Yes, just a little frightened by that. At least that takes care of one of them. Now for Daniels. End log. I don't see what this has to do with me. There's no reason to play dumb, Doctor. He told us everything. Well then, I guess there's no use feigning anything, is there? Now this, like I said, that was just all by SCP Illustrated. Now we're back onto the official document, so just FYI. Audio recording, O5 hearing. Begin log. Upon review of the testimony and available footage, and the confession of the late Dr. Alexei, it is the unanimous agreement of the O5 that you are to be terminated for your part in the gross breach of SCP-096. And I thought you would know the meaning of for the greater good. Do not try my patience, Doctor. Given the incident's scope and potential, the O5 have approved your request for the termination of SCP-096. Given the lack of personnel with understanding of SCP-096, the termination will be entrusted to you, under heavy guard and the personal supervision of me. Your own termination will be scheduled for a later date. End log. That is horrible, Doctor. How could you knowingly it worked? It was only a matter of time until that happened in a major population center, and its face spread over the world news. I can kill 096, but I've killed myself in the process. And that concludes my reading of SCP-096. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I warned you guys beforehand of intense language, blood, gore, etc. Like I said, with the redacted part of interview log 096-1-A, that goes credit to SCP Illustrated. Like I said, there'll be a link in the description below if you want to check him out. Also, oh god, sorry, I burped. Thankfully it was at the end of this video. Anyways, yeah, if you guys want to go check out the trailer for 096, which is based off of incident 096-1-A, there'll be a link in the description below. Third one from the bottom. So for now, that's about all the time we got today, so thank you all for joining me today. Be sure to subscribe, leave comments down below because I like them, and crank that like button to the max like Soldier Boy. Till then, I'm Hadfield15. Space out, bros and brositas. Thank you for watching.